Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Emily Hiles, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Lieutenant Colonel Greg Cale. This evening, we warmly welcome Group Captain Alan George, retired, representing the Air Force Association of Australia. We also welcome the delegation of officers from the Indonesian military participating in the Colin East Award. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Eltham College visiting from Victoria and students on behalf of Warwick Senior High School visiting from Western Australia. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was a vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flight Sergeant Stephanos Servos, who was killed during the Second World War. Stephanos Servos, known as Steve, was born on the 4th of May 1921 in Townsville, Queensland, the son of Spiros and Virginia Servos. Growing up, he had two young sisters, Kathleen and Talon, and two younger brothers, Gregory and Michael. His mother died giving childbirth to Michael in 1926. Their father left the children with the church and they became wards of Queensland's State Department. Young Stephanos never saw his father again. The children were placed in St George's Orphanage at Parkhurst in Rockhampton. Stephanos was fond of cricket, tennis and swimming. He attended Parkhurst State School until he was 14 years old, when he was sent to work as a farmhand for Mr Parker Mason of Pheasant Creek near Wowan. As Servos' parents were both born outside the British Empire, an investigation was undertaken into his character. His employer and the people from the State Department and the police all vouched for him, noting his excellent character, calling him a loyal and honest and reliable person. Servos enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force on the 9th of October 1942, aged 21. He was trained as an air gunner, and when he received his badge in September 1943, he was made a sergeant. He embarked for overseas service from Sydney on the 3rd of October 1943, arriving in the United Kingdom in November. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, he was one of almost 27,500 Royal Australian Air Force pilots, navigators, bomb aimers, wireless operators, air gunners, and flight engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined British and Commonwealth squadrons based in Britain. Further specialist training followed in England, and in March 1944, Servos was promoted to Flight Sergeant, now a fully fledged wireless operator. On the 26th of November 1944, he was posted to number 476 Squadron, Royal Australian Air Force. As part of Bomber Command, the squadron flew the four-engined Avro Lancaster heavy bomber. On the night of the 7th of January 1945, Bomber Command launched a major Royal Air Force raid of Munich. Stephanos was the wireless operator and air gunner aboard Lancaster POL, which took off just after 5 p.m. The raid was the seventh and last such raid on the city and was considered a success, destroying many targets. Number 467 Squadron committed 11 Lancasters to the mission, but one failed to return. At 4:15 a.m, the crew of Lancaster POL was on its way home. They had been flying for 10 hours when something appeared to go wrong. The aircraft descended towards the English coast and crashed near the village of Ayr in Suffolk. No bodies were found on board, and it is thought likely that the crew bailed out somewhere over the North Sea. Their remains were never recovered. Flight Sergeant Stephanos Servos, with his fellow Australians, Flying Officer William McNamee, and Flight Sergeants John Gullery, Maxwell Bruckner, Lawrence Selwick, and Herbert Williams, along with British Sergeant Henry Kirsch, were all presumed dead. They have no known graves, and are commemorated on the Runnymede Memorial to the Missing in Surrey, which honours all Commonwealth airmen whose bodies were never found. Steve Servos was 23 years old. He was dearly missed by his friends and family, and his employer placed in memorandum notices in the newspaper after his death. 4 of Servos' siblings served their country during the Second World War. Kathleen was an aircraft woman in the Women's Auxiliary Australian Air Force, while Gregory served in the 10th 2nd Battalion, Royal Imperial Force, in the Middle East in Papua New Guinea. The younger brother Michael enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force in the Second World War and went on to serve in the Australian Army in the Korean War. Flight Sergeant Stephanos Servos' name is listed on the Roll of Honour to my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving during the Second World War. A photograph of his name on the Runnymede Memorial is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flight Sergeant Stephanos Servos, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and hope for a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.